Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we've got Sabrina with us and we're going to be making sure that you know exactly what's going to happen in the world of social media. We've got tips, tricks and everything else. So make sure that you stay around for this video because this one is going to help you elevate your social from meh to great. My name is Patrick, I'm a chartered accountant, certified UK trainer, that QuickBooks Chap and everything else in between. Now, we're going to go straight into it now and we're going to make sure that you have every bit of those tips that you need. Sabrina, you're back!
Yay!
Oh, thank you so much for coming back. So last time you were here, you were telling us all about our clients about social media and you were telling them about the next steps in business and everything else. Now, since the last time we've had it, there's been a big change in the world of social media, hasn't there? Like, it keeps evolving all the time. It's one of those areas where you think you've learned it, but then realise actually you haven't, and there's other bits to learn all the time. Could we start at the very, very basic for some of our clients? Like, if you had to start from scratch now, like some of your clients are, what would be your number one priority for them to be in? I know there's going to be kind of different types of clients out there, but if you could try and generalise, what platform are you making the most use out of at the moment?
I think it's a great question, and you're right. Social media is always going to adapt. So therefore, once you finish learning it, you haven't finished learning it because there's always more to learn because you never know what's going to come up. I would say it really depends on your offer. So whatever your offer is, that irresistible offer that's going to make clients love you, that's going to be impossible to say no to working with you, go to the platform that suits that offer. Because a lot of the time, there's so much hype about TikTok and the new SEO features or YouTube trying to put out shorts. There's always going to be the biggest next thing. So if you're starting in that very beginning point, forget what everyone else is saying about the flashiness of social media, the shiny object news syndrome of what's coming out, what's happening with the algorithm, and think, have I got a good offer? And what platform are my ideal clients going to be on? And that's the platform to focus on.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I think we definitely struggled at that to begin with. We were trying to be on all platforms at all times, and you know, there's so much to learn in each individual platform, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. The list just goes on and on and on and on. So let's try and break it down then. Let's go for those kind of more bigger platforms and if you could try and give some tips of who should be acting on those platforms and why, and also try and give us a bit of an insight into if they are platforms that should be, like, are they relevant anymore, or you know, how is it going to be? So let's go all the way back to the beginning. Let's go back to Facebook. Now, I know you never really saw Facebook as a proper platform. It's kind of always been a bit too behind you, but do you see any relevance at all for people on Facebook at this point in time?
Well, I'm not that young, so Facebook was the platform I was always on growing up as a teenager.
What, for business?
For business?
Yeah.
I think going back to basics, when someone wants to work with you, they're going to Google you.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. So Google yourself, Google your business, and make sure that you have all your social media profiles set up so it shows that you're an actual business. Then when it comes to certain different media platforms, I think it also depends on what you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Because if you've never been on Facebook and you're trying to navigate a completely new site and it's confusing and you're finding it hard, you probably won't do it. So I would say even to go for the platform that you find comfortable to be on and then to expand out from there.
Yeah, because we did the whole have a profile on Facebook. We wanted it to, you know, be very professional. It looked snazzy and everything else. So we're following those guidelines that were set out there. But ultimately, like you said, it's one of those ones where people probably look at it once or twice. Almost they're using it as a bit of due diligence, aren't they? Mm-hmm. That's all they're using it for. The only time that I find Facebook to be useful for is the communities. Like, there's a QuickBooks community that's really popular, and you know, an accountants community, there's a small business community. They're the only times that I've really found any kind of relevance to Facebook. Is there anything else I'm missing? Is there anything else I should be looking out for?
I'd say community is probably the biggest thing that I enjoy Facebook for. I also really like LinkedIn for their communities, but they're not as big. I would say if your ideal client is actively on Facebook, then definitely Facebook ads is a great way to go, and using that to actually funnel into a community or into an offer. Because it's been around for so long, it has a really good way of being able to filter your demographics, being able to see what works and what doesn't work, being able to A/B test. So it's great for ads. So if you have a great offer if you have a decent page that shows that you're a real company, then potentially also to go down the ad routes for Facebook.
Love it. So let's think of the Facebook's, older sibling, no, not older sibling, younger sibling, okay? Instagram. So for me, and this is my personal view, it's kind of had peaks and troughs. I feel like we're in a bit of a trough with Instagram at the moment. I imagine there'll be a peak for it later. But what's your opinion on it at the moment? How are you feeling? And is it something that you think that people should be investing their time in?
Instagram is a dating app more than I would say it's a business or social media app. Yes, you can use it for business. But again, a lot of consumers use Instagram, because they want to enjoy it. Because they want to see what their friends are up to. They want to see what the celebrity that they've been watching on Netflix has posted. They want to follow the apprentice candidates behind the scenes. Because of that, people are always going to go to your Instagram. So it's really important to actually have something on there. Now, whether you use it for your offer or not, it really depends if you want to use it as a platform. Is it the best to invest your time right now? There's probably different ways to get clients, but it's good to have that online presence.
Yeah, and I think if I look at our kind of clients and what we have and what they're doing success in, I think ones that are more product focused, if they've got a fancy product or a quote unquote sexy product, whatever it's going to be that they can use Instagram for the photos and for the engagement for, they seem to still be doing really well on Instagram. But you're right, like personality or at least service industry businesses, they're struggling a little bit, aren't they, on that platform?
Yeah, you make a really good point though, because they're pushing massively Instagram shop. If you have something to go on that shop and you build like a community and it looks great, then 100% Instagram's a great place to be.
Brilliant. And what's your feeling towards Reels versus Shorts at the moment? What's kind of been the best engagement, would you say, or how's it been going for you?
I always think from the platform's perspective, what's their objective? Instagram are competing against TikTok. Therefore, they've understood, okay, TikTok have done a really good job with Reels. How do we move it over to our platform? So whatever the platform it is, when you figure out what they want, you just do what they want. Yes, maybe you've got to post a reel instead of a photo. Don't complain about it, just do it. And see, if you start to adapt to what the platform wants, they will reward you for that.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so Instagram we figured out, Facebook we understand. Let's talk about probably the elephant in the room. For majority, I would say, especially our clients, a lot of them see TikTok as this chalice that they have to be involved in, you know. You've heard all the stories, the idea that you can get 1 million views and all this engagement, and it's supposed to be, or it's at least been told at the moment, that everyone should be on TikTok and everything else. Do you agree with that? Is that going to be very much business or business dependent? Or is it just a platform that you think's kind of, it's got a bit of limelight at the moment and ride the waves? How's your feeling towards it?
I feel if TikTok goes the way that they're going, which is SEO, search heavy content, then content creators where people are actively searching for solutions on Google and then they go into the TikTok videos for answers will be really, really impactful. Because for example, when I'm going on holiday or I'm traveling or I want to see what there is to do in London this weekend, I go to TikTok and I see an influencer and she's posted all these different fun things to do. I'm using that as a search engine compared to a consumer machine. And that's the only way I use TikTok. So if you can find a way to become and create your content into a search engine for TikTok rather than, you know, typically fun dances and challenges and TikTok style content, as a business you can do extremely well.
Last time I looked at TikTok properly, or at least I was shown it on you know, mainstream telly or YouTube ad or whatever it was, I remember their newest ad kind of blew me away a little bit, because it was like you were saying there, people searching how to, I think they just moved into the house or whatever the premise was, and they were searching how to do this, and to me that really, either they're being very aggressive, that's where they want TikTok to be, because that's where YouTube kind of came about, wasn't it? You know, most of the time you're going to Google how to do something, it's, you know, first place is going to be YouTube. So either they're being really aggressive and want to get to, that's what their kind of end goal wants to be, or people are already doing that and we just don't know that. Do you feel like people are actually literally now, like you said, is every kind of person out there? And what's the demographic for people using TikTok as a search engine, would you say?
Well, without knowing the numbers and just understanding from what I've seen and what I know, YouTube, I feel like, is more our generation, where we go on YouTube to find answers. Acquired by Google, therefore the YouTube videos rank in Google, an extremely, extremely powerful way to get leads for your business, for clients. TikTok is the search engine for maybe the generation after myself, the younger generation, and they are actively using it more than YouTube. So therefore, I think it depends on where your client avatar is and where your target audience is, whether that focus be on TikTok or YouTube. There's a lot of pressure to get on TikTok and it's the biggest next thing. Yes, it can be, but it really depends where you are in your business within your brand, and to not see it so much as a stress and see it as a place of inspiration that you can go to, you can learn from, and when you're ready to go on the platform.
Love it, love it. Okay, so we've gone through kind of the more controversial way of saying this, but the more sexy platforms or the more fun platforms. Let's go for what should be the more serious platform. And the one, if I'm completely honest, the one that I've neglected more than anything, and I know I shouldn't have done, I should have been putting more effort into, and that's LinkedIn. How are you finding LinkedIn at the moment? You know, do you feel like it's still got relevance? Do you feel like it's still got legs? Or is it one of those ones that maybe it's starting to be on the decline?
From a B2B business angle, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and YouTube. From a B2C business angle, I would say the first three. Now, B2B, I love LinkedIn because there's so many different features, but the biggest thing is on LinkedIn, it's okay when you're at work to be on LinkedIn
Very
because
true.
it's kind of work. So what you get is you get a whole load of consumers on LinkedIn and not many content creators. I think around 2.53% of active users are actually posting on a weekly basis on LinkedIn. So the platform there to get incredible reach is still huge. It was huge 2 years ago, it still is now. So if you can create content around your personality, around things that people can relate to you, not just about business tips, then you'll start to do very well on LinkedIn, especially if you're using the live feature where someone can tune in and they can join a session, because there is that LinkedIn community that is being built.
And I think you're right, because my co-host, Johan, he's like become Mr. LinkedIn in our accountancy space. And it is that, like, we do our live podcasts. He has the opportunity to post every single day. He gets that engagement. And he's definitely doing really well, and he's building his network, and he's getting the opportunity to have a couple of clients through there as well. So it's giving that benefit. And, you know, I can see the benefit from there. But I had a really interesting point made to me yesterday where it was almost like a moan, if you like. And the moan was that the reason they stopped using Facebook back in the day, this particular person, was because they were not interested in the drama or the negative connotations of those platforms. And their opinion was that LinkedIn has started to slowly become the new Facebook in terms of, because people are now posting more personal content, which is doing really well for engagement, people are then becoming put off by that. Do you see, is that something you've seen? Is that something we should be wary of, or what's your opinion on that?
If you want to grow your following and people fall in love with your personality, you're going to do well on LinkedIn. Yes, potentially it could go down that way, but LinkedIn have enough there to stop it going down that way. I think rather than thinking of I don't like this content, it doesn't matter about you. It doesn't matter that you don't like this content, you don't see it doing well. Everyone else likes this content, otherwise they wouldn't be liking and commenting and sharing. And a lot of the time, there's been this massive trend towards a work-life balance and a lot of discussions about mental health, a lot of discussions that maybe you do want to go in and you want to hear tips and tricks about XYZ, but maybe other people go on there to escape and to actually learn how to relate on a human level. If I'm going to work with somebody, I want to work with them because I like them and they're fun and I understand them and they get me. I can only show that by being vulnerable and being open. If I'm talking to somebody about do it this way or this is how I did it, yes, but maybe that's not why I went onto the platform in the first place. So really thinking about, rather than, oh, it's turning like this platform or this isn't what I certainly like, changing the mindset and thinking, these 500 people liked it, maybe there is something there. Maybe if I changed the way that I was thinking about it, I could also be like that.
Love it. So we've kind of gone through your traditional social media platforms, the ones that most people kind of gravitate towards the beginning of it. Now, obviously this content is going to be out on YouTube, and that's the platform of choice for us. How are you finding YouTube for your clients at the moment? Is it a barrier to entry? Have they been better, worse, those sort of things? What's your opinion on the platform at the moment?
YouTube is probably my favorite platform because from a B2B perspective, I use it as a search engine.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm able to get a whole load of information. There's always been some kind of content. You're not really doing anything new on YouTube. But the way that you design it, the way that you explain it, the way that you can get the listener to engage with you, to find it exciting, that's what makes your content stand out. It's also great practice. If you want to become a personal brand, YouTube's a great place to start because you're speaking to the camera, you learn how to edit out the pauses, you learn how to have clarification in what you're saying. That then leads on to podcasts and press interviews and TV. All of that is building up your skills that you need to create and be an effective communicator, which then impacts your clients, it impacts your teams. So yes, it's a great search engine, it's great for content, but it also really helps hone in on your personal skills as well.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, we are a perfect example of that. We started our little YouTube channel and we kind of built our way up from there. But we've had great client engagement from it. We've had new clients come through, but also so many great opportunities have come from it. Like we're doing more talking events. We are starting our podcast. We've got our other elements that have just started to come into play because of that presence that's there. And I think that's the key, isn't it? It's people understanding that, and I do completely understand most people have that fear factor of YouTube, but over everything else. It seems like the idea of just putting a post or a blog up or whatever you want to do to engage with your community on the other platforms is there's a kind of less barrier of entry, isn't there? It's just get it done. It's like just post it is the phrase, isn't it? Like just get something out there and you'll learn from it and everything else. How have you been encouraging your clients and everything else? Have you been encouraging them to take that step to actually get on the bandwagon and start doing YouTube?
And you're right, it's nerve-wracking to be in front of the camera, to be vulnerable. A lot of it is create a podcast, create a conversation, because when you're having a conversation with somebody, whether that's to the camera or to another person, you forget that you're being filmed. You forget everything around you and it becomes more natural and it looks like you're really having a conversation, which is exactly what they want to see. They don't want to see a presenter style and excitement and these wacky faces. Everyone wants us to speak to a human being like a human being. So being able to amplify it and think, I'm just having a conversation with one of my clients. Even record a Zoom conversation of a client call and put that on YouTube, because you're still giving a whole load of value, and as long as you've got the client's permission, they can actually watch it back and even learn for themselves and think about, okay, great, maybe this could happen. So there's lots of different ways to do it. If you don't want to suddenly invest in a lot of equipment, you can use your phone, you can record yourself in a Zoom, and even if you want to use it for your first video, create a bit of a script, put a Loom video on, your little corner, just your face and your webcam, and walk through the program. That's giving a lot of value, and it's your first step to feeling confident in front of a camera. I
love it. And that's going to help you as well when you do take the clients on and you do finally sell whatever product you is. It's going to help actually sell that product easier, isn't it? It's a training tool and you're going through that sort of aspect as well. Brilliant. Okay, so on the spot here then, what are your top tips at the moment as we stand now for just getting started in social media? If you had a new client who, from starting from scratch, just give me 2 or 3 just really quick tips that they could take away from this.
I'd say the first one is to focus on money in. A lot of the time we can get distracted on, what does our LinkedIn banner look like? Have I got the right logo for my Instagram? Does my feed look pretty? None of those matter. None of those impact money into the business. Is somebody going to pay me for a good job? So before any of the social media, I'd actually say, have you got a good offer? Number 2, how do I get my offer in front of my ideal client? And then going through to social media. Because I remember the first time I started using Instagram to make money, and I would cold message somebody and we'd have a conversation and I would sell in the chat. And I found that was purely because I was being vulnerable, I was being open, I was having a normal conversation with somebody. I didn't have a website, I didn't have anything fancy. And then I was like, this validates my idea, therefore I can start creating more awareness around it. So rather than thinking about how pretty can we look, how great does it look, what should we be doing in business, think about, have I got a good offer, who can I serve, and then how do I get eyes in front of the offer? And that could be having 6 nice photos of you on Instagram and just messaging somebody. And that is the first way to get money into the business, and you've just done it through your DMs and you haven't even posted anything.
Love it, absolutely love it. And that's it, that is our top tips for social media at this point in time. Now, we need your help. So if you want us to have another opportunity to grill Sabrina like we are doing now, we need your questions, we need your comments. So down below, you'll find there's going to be lots of opportunity for you to ask questions. I'm sure if there's a really burning one, we'll get it to Sabrina straight away. But ultimately, we want to make sure that we can utilize this content again. So any questions you've got, let us know below, and we'll make sure in a future video we can have access to this. Thank you very much for giving us your time, and hopefully people have been able to see exactly it is. But plug away. Why should people be worried about social media and everything else? How can you help them if they are?
You can drop me a message. I'm always happy to help. Watch Aaron's content, watch some of our content on Instagram. But yeah, I think there's so much online. You don't have to invest in a course. You don't have to invest in a coach. Until you're making a certain amount a month yourself, don't invest in an agency. Go on YouTube.
But when you are ready to take that next step and you want to take it seriously, so you're all about that, taking them from, they've figured out their journey, they've started to get a present, they've started to get this, they started to understand it a little bit more. You can take them to the next step. How can you do that for them?
We can take all of your existing content and we call it a content conversion to client machine. So we actually allow the client to understand who you are as a person, what you do, how you can help them, and then share that on social media as well. We help them with press sometimes, because sometimes they haven't even got a lead generation or a sales problem, they have an authority problem because they're not seen as the #1 expert in their industry, so therefore someone doesn't want to work with them. So it's about finding the breaking points, which we can help with that, and fixing them as soon as possible.
I love it. I love it. So where's the best place to find you?
You can connect with me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or you can drop me an email to my email address.
And what's the company called again?
2PR.
Awesome. So yeah, get yourself involved if you're thinking you're at that level, and then make sure. But if not, then use these tips, get yourself up there, and then we've got the next step forward sorted for you. Again, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Remember, if you want to have more tips and tricks like this, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Give us a like, give us a comment. All of that sort of stuff really helps. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.